All right, everybody, let's get into this national debt stuff. How about catching up on the national debt since I last did my video titled 16 trillion, where I go in depth of who we owe and where that 16 trillion is owed. I'm going to link this up below. I'm not going to go into the same type of in-depth discussion on, it's $1.7 trillion higher now, but this will still give you an idea of where the money is owed. Now, a lot of people like to point out that this is not the national debt. We actually owe hundreds of trillions, which is true, with unfunded liabilities with Social Security and Medicare. I'm not talking about that in this video. That's a horrific problem, but I'm just not covering that in this video. So where I want to start in this video is here with listening to what Bush said. Now, before I play this, I wanted to point out that the first 42 presidents ran up a national debt of $5.7 trillion. Bush came in 2001 and ran it up another $4.9 trillion, taking it up to 10.6. So I'm just going to play a tiny bit of this here.
Many of you have talked about the need to pay down our national debt. I listened, and I agree.
Yeah, he listened with his ears closed. Horrible video. This is just for the audio, everybody.
We owe it to our children and grandchildren to act now.
Yeah.
And I hope you will join me to pay down $2 trillion in debt during the next 10 years.
Hey, right on. Sounds good. Just like all the bullshit they say. It all sounds good. Lies. That's all you're going to get out of both parties. We have a two-party dictatorship. If you're not aware of that, neither party represents your best interest or my best interest. They both represent their own best interest. They're working together. If you need a good explanation of that, you can look towards Jesse the Body. I'm thinking of when he's a wrestler. Jesse Ventura, the former governor of Minnesota, explains it. It's just like pro wrestling. You go out and you fight. The Democrats, Republicans, they fight it out, and then afterwards they're having brandy and cigars because they're on the same team. This is just to keep everybody polarized and to keep us at one another's throats, saying, oh, look, the Dems, all the Democrats' fault, it's all the Republicans' fault. No, it's all these guys' fault. And you're going to see here, I'm going to point out some things. So let's move on. I wanted to play another little clip here.
Is that the way Bush has done it over the last 8 years is to take out a credit card from the Bank of China in the name of our children, driving up our national debt from $5 trillion for the first 42 presidents. Number 43 added $4 trillion by his lonesome, so that we now have over $9 trillion of debt.
We now have over $9 trillion when he's trying to become president. Well, it's 17.7 now. Wow, what's going on here, Mr. Obama?
That we are going to have to pay back $30,000 for every man, woman, and child. That's irresponsible. It's unpatriotic.
That's irresponsible and unpatriotic. And here's some propaganda coming out of Pelosi's office a few years back. You might have seen this on Facebook. I did a video about this because a cousin of mine put it up and was trying to show people, look what's going on here. I totally broke it down. I mean, he might have thought I was picking on him, but I mean, this is ridiculous. These are percentages. You look at this and go, oh, wow, Bush, there, yeah. Bush, big spender, and oh, look at Reagan. Oh, wow, he's a really big spender. And then, oh, Clinton, he didn't spend too bad. And Obama, he's doing really good, not spending a lot of money. This is just total bullshit propaganda here. 189%. He came into office, it was $900 billion. So it's not hard to raise it 189%. You just got to take it up to 2 point, whatever it is, 7 or whatever. And then Bush, he almost doubled it, so he's a little under 100%. And then it's so damn high when he comes in. And so in the first 3 years, he raised it only $3 trillion. only more than, 60% of what he did in 8, he comes in and does in 3. And it's, only 35% rise because it's so damn high. So the percentage increase is low. I mean, this is just total propaganda out of Pelosi's office. All right, so here, let's look at some federal debt information here. You can see what's going on. This shows 16 trillion. We're actually at 17.7 now. So it's 7 trillion added since 09. That's, wow. It's just incredible to look at this. 7 trillion, 4.9 trillion in 8 years is unpatriotic, irresponsible. Well, what the hell is 7 trillion in 6 years? He's on track to do what every president has ever done, added together in the history of the country. He's doing it on his own. This is one of the biggest liars I've ever come across. So we're looking at that. We're looking at this here is another thing I wanted to point out. This MarketWatch.com article here is saying that the last monthly figure is helping to power a big decline in the deficit. They always talk about deficit reduction, decline, deficit's declining. Yeah, while the debt is always increasing, the deficit, which is the amount spent beyond their means in 1 year, maybe it was 1.2 trillion. Oh, they only spent 900 billion beyond their means the next year. So we reduced the deficit by $300 billion. Just all a bunch of crap. All right, so we're talking about the first 11 months of fiscal 2014. Okay, the fiscal year runs from October 1st to September 30th. So we're just about done with fiscal 2014. It ends in a few weeks. So they're saying 589 billion. I don't know where the heck that number comes from. Because if you go back, if you go to Treasury Direct, and if you go back to September or October 1st, 2013, it's right around 16,738,000,000,000. Well, we're at 17,770,000,000,000. So we've added over $1 trillion here again. I mean, it's just incredible the amount of money that just keeps getting added on. So I don't know where they came up with that. But the truth is it's over $1 trillion again. And this is such a large problem for many reasons. But one of the main reasons I want to point out is because of the interest on the national debt. And you can check that out yourself. Click on interest reports and then interest expense on the debt. You can see the interest expense every year. Back to 88, $214 trillion. No, I take that back. Billion, sorry, with a B. I'm getting carried away with the trillions, and now we can talk about quadrillions and derivatives. So anyway, 214 billion, and then it went up to 451 billion, almost half a trillion, and it came back down because you got to remember they took interest rates down to 0 around here, and they've stayed really low. So the average interest rate on the whole 17 trillion is only 2% now. I mean, it was 6% back here when we had these higher amounts. And that's kind of the norm for a long time, decades, 6%. So if we get back to 6% again, you can figure what 6% of the 17 trillion is. I mean, we're talking over $1 trillion in an interest payment for 1 year. And a lot of this is short term. It's got to be turned over. It's not just long-term 30-year treasury bonds. I mean, a lot of this is short-term debt. So it would be turned over at those higher interest rates. So $400 billion. So this year is 411. We got one more month to add on. It's probably going to be 430 for fiscal year. Just in interest, 430 billion. I mean, it's just getting way out of hand. So talking about what's going to be handed over to our children, how we're enslaving them. This is both parties here. I want to point that out. This is both parties. I'm tired of people pointing out